created an application with a text box named txtName, a button named btnGetName, and a button called btnTellJoke. Let's look at the code for these two buttons and we see what this program does. So I'm going to double click on my getName button. Here's my procedure for the click event of btnGetName. And what I'm doing is creating a variable called myName that's of type string, and I'm placing into that the text value of our txtName text box. So whatever name's entered in that text box becomes the value of my name. Then I'm going to show that in a message box using messagebox.show. For my prompt, I'm going to say welcome, comma space. I'm going to concatenate to that my name and concatenate an exclamation mark. Then when I click the btnTellJoke button, that click event has a joke variable of type string that specifies the joke, and then we use a message box to show the value of joke as the prompt and a title with a little bit of humor. Let me run this so you can see what currently happens. So here's our application. We have John entered as the name. I click Get Name, and it says Welcome John. So let's put John into my name. And when I click Tell Me a Joke, I get my title of a bit of humor, and the joke is, why do they serve snails in French restaurants? Because their patrons don't like fast food. What I'd like to have happen when we click the joke, I'd like for it to say, hey John, or whatever the username is. Hey Jill, why do they serve snails in French restaurants? So we want to personalize this. So let's go back and do that in our code. I'm going to go to the Tell Me a Joke. And one might think in order to make that work, all one needs to do is take joke and have it equal hey as a literal string plus my name plus, we'll do a couple periods here as a literal string plus joke. And you'll notice my name has a red squiggly under it, meaning it doesn't understand what this value is. In fact, the error message that comes up in the IntelliSense is the name my name does not exist in the current context. And what that means is this variable that we created as my name, we created it in this procedure. It has a lifespan of existing while this procedure is running. So when we click the btnGetName button, it runs this code, it creates that string variable, assigns the value, uses that value in the message box, but then when it hits the end of that method, the end of that event procedure, it no longer exists. The context for it is local. And so when I come down and try to use that here, it's saying, I don't know what my name is. It does not exist here. So we need to use something called a class level variable whenever we're going to share data between different procedures or different functions. And the way we do that is to create a variable outside of our procedures. Now, I usually kind of prefer to do my variables up at the very top inside the partial class. These are called class level variables. They exist for the entire class for whatever procedures exist in that class. And we declare them the same way. So string my name. Now I'm not going to assign a value to it. Actually, I guess I could. I can assign a null value to it. But then when we click that btnGetName, I want to put that text property in txt name into my name. Now if I leave this as is, it's going to create another variable. It's a local context variable named my name. I don't want to do that. I want to use the class level variable. In fact, by the way, I often like to just put a little comment up here that these are class level variables, and I'll put all my class level variables here. So I need to get rid of this string down here, so I'm not recreating another my name variable, which by the way, I'd never recommend creating a class level variable and a local variable that are named the same thing. Just gets a little confusing. It'll let you do that, but not a good idea. So now, as we did that, it's going to put the text property of txtName text box into my name, use it here in the message box, but it's also going to use the value of my name in our joke because it recognizes my name as a class level variable, and whatever value is assigned here is the value assigned to that class level variable. Let's try this. So now I click Get Name. We get Welcome John. And I say, tell me a joke. And it says, hey John, why do they serve snails in French restaurants? So it's recognizing the value of my name in the concatenation of our string for the joke. So why not make all of our variables class level variables? Because as class level variables, they take up more memory. And they take up memory for the entire duration of the program. Only use class level variables if you need to be able to reference that value in multiple locations and retain the value outside of a particular function or event procedure. Otherwise, if it's something that you're just going to use for a very short period of time within that procedure, such as maybe a counter in a loop, make it a local variable. So that's the difference between class level and local variables.